Welcome to Tales from the Rail. We are up front. We are unfiltered. We are unforgettable. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. And today, Greg, we are I'm Chad. This is Greg.
And we're a rock and roll podcast by fans, for fans, and about the fans.
And today we're talking about our 10 favorite concerts we've ever been to. So this is our top 10 list. This isn't our best. This is our favorite. And we have different reasons for it being our favorite.
Right.
So this might take us a while. So let's get into it. Let's go backwards. So top 10. Let's start with number 10.
Well, I'm going to do mine in no particular order.
You're going to do yours in no particular order? I like it.
They're for different reasons.
Okay.
In no particular order.
All right. Let's hear one.
First one. Michael Schenker, April 1st, teen at Canton Hall in Dallas, Texas.
Cool. Say who Michael Schenker is.
Michael Schenker, guitar player. He was in UFO. He did a stint in the Scorpions, and he's got a super long solo career.
Yep.
Phenomenal guitar player. And when he left the Scorpions, he went to UFO. When he left UFO, he started his solo career, and he did several albums. And he had 3 different lead singers in his solo career, and he also did a band that he called Temple of Rock, where he had another singer. So this tour in 2018 was called Michael Schenker Fest. And the thing that was so cool and unique about this concert is, for this tour, he brought all 4 of his lead singers throughout his solo career together.
Oh, that's really cool.
And they did the tour. So he had Gary Barden, he had Graham Bonnet, he had Robin McCauley, and he had Doogie White from Temple of Rock. So he brought all 4 of those singers, and those singers
that he played with
on his solo career,
and brought them on.
And he brought them out, and they released an album in 2018, and each singer sang a couple of songs on the album, but then they would come out and they would sing the songs that they sang on those solo albums with Michael Schenker. And it was so freaking cool, because there's a lot of bands that go through changes, and they change singers, they change drummers, they change guitar players, blah, blah, blah. So to have a tour where somebody brought all of his lead singers together and they sang the original songs from all the way back in his catalog.
That's
was
awesome.
Super freaking cool. And it'll always be one of my favorites.
That's mine. My number 10 is more about the theatrics and more about the originality of it. And what I loved is I just love going to see the openers and someone surprises me, or someone I haven't heard of, or someone I might have heard a song or two from, but I haven't paid much attention to.
Sometimes you don't even know who the opener is.
Sometimes you don't even know, and this was the case, right? And their name was Stuck Mojo. They played on November 1st, 1998. It was in a little club in Minneapolis, and I was there to see Seven Dust. Everybody probably watching knows Seven Dust. And Clutch, which is another great band, was playing before Seven Dust. So we just make it in there right as Stuck Mojo is starting, and they come out dressed like professional wrestlers. So they have everyone
Nice.
part. They're like, get out of the way, get out of the way. We're coming up to the stage through this way. And they're like, we need you to make an aisle. We need you to make an aisle.
They came through the crowd?
They came through the crowd, and they're all dressed like professional wrestlers, right? So one of them's dressed like the Macho Man. One comes in like a Ric Flair robe. And then they get on stage and they take off, just the screen comes down, and everywhere on the stage is like old school rubber wrestlers and all the WWE figurines, and their whole set was just pro wrestlers. And then they put on the best show. I mean, they were just unbelievable. But the theatrics, the fun, it was probably the most fun I've ever had in a show. And I had no idea who Stuck Mojo was. I was there to see Seven Dust. So
those are the best.
Yeah,
and you're surprised like that.
And Clutch was great, and Seven Dust was great. It was just an all-around great show. But for that to start that way, and the theatrics and the fun behind it, when pro wrestling, it was 1998 was at its height. It was just unbelievable.
And how many people did you tell about Stuck Mojo?
Oh, everybody. Like, you gotta go see these guys. They're unbelievable. Don't miss this tour. I got all their albums. You know, I've listened to them ever since. I still listen to them, and there's no
Nice.
way if I wasn't at that show that I would have saw them. So, you know,
Yeah.
Seven Dust kind of brought them around, and yeah, just a spectacular show. Next
Okay.
one.
Yeah, my next one. May 24th, 1986. I saw Metallica for the first time on the Master of Puppets tour.
Oh my gosh, was Cliff with them?
Cliff was with him.
Oh.
It was in May, and he passed away the fall of that year. So
Oh.
I got to see Metallica, Master of Puppets, with Cliff Burton at the Show Me Center. Oh no, the Cape Center in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And Chad, you're not going to believe it, but I bet there wasn't 200 people there.
Oh my gosh, that's the best part.
I mean, there's a small venue in Cape Girardeau, and Armored Saint was the opening band.
Another great band.
Yeah, another great band. Love Armored Saint, but I didn't know that that was going to be the last time and only time that I would ever see Cliff Burton with the band.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're phenomenal, put on a great show. And then I found out, you know, that fall when he passed away that I'll never get to see Cliff Burton again, but I did get to see Cliff Burton with Metallica. So that'll always be one of my favorites.
So that's a great segue into mine. Mine's just been the Metallica M72 tour. I've seen it now 3 times with you. It's really grown our friendship. There's just been some great opening acts. I love that they're in their 60s. And every time I go to see them, I'm like, they didn't mail it in. They were just as good, if not better, than the last time I see them. I'm a huge Metallica fan, but I've absolutely loved this tour. I love the circular stage. I've loved the artwork. I've loved the posters they've put out. I've loved the limited edition t-shirts they do. I think their pop shop has just been great.
They're merchandising geniuses.
They're just merchandising geniuses. I love the Metallica fan base. I've really enjoyed our friendship growing. The lines I've waited in, the people I've talked to. I haven't seen one fight, one argument.
No.
You know, you're at a thrash metal show. Let's be honest, Metallica's thrash metal, and it's the nicest community, the nicest people. So not any particular show that they played, but just that whole tour has been spectacular for me.
That was a great. Let's see. My next one is July 27th, 1982.
Going way back.
Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. The first time I saw Van Halen.
Oh, wow.
Van Halen on the Diver Down tour.
David Lee Roth, obviously fronting.
I mean, they're in their height of their career.
Yeah.
And you can challenge me on this, but I still say David Lee Roth is one of the greatest frontmen in rock and roll.
He's a showman.
He puts on a show. He could sing back then. And I mean, I saw that show and I'm like, oh my God. I'd always loved Van Halen. I mean,
that's a great episode. Top 10 showman episode.
But Van Halen was basically the soundtrack to my teenage years growing up, and I finally got to see him in 1982, and they did not disappoint. Eddie was phenomenal. The whole show was unbelievable, but David Lee Roth out front of that band at that time
in 1982.
In 1980, I mean, he was unbelievable.
Blew the roof off the place.
Blew it up. And that's, you know, when they were touring and opening for people, there were a lot of people that, you know, there were a lot of bands like Black Sabbath, and they're like, oh my God, these people are blowing me off the stage. Van Halen's blowing these people off the stage. And then they started headlining, and man, they don't disappoint.
My number 8 is Incubus, and not because I'm a huge Incubus fan, but I saw them at a small college. I went to the University of Iowa. They were playing co-college. It was 1997, April 27th, 1997. They had an album coming out called Science, and it wasn't out yet, so nobody knew it. And it was the most unique sound I have ever heard in my life. And there was maybe 150 people there. Nobody knew who Incubus was. They had an opening act, and we ended up hanging out with them after the show because my college roommate was a musician and knew them, had toured with them, had some drinks, smoked some things with them. And
that's another episode.
That's another episode, but it was just the greatest experience. I'm like, these guys are going to be huge. Like, I've never heard a sound like this. It was the most unique sound, still to this day, at a show that I've ever heard. And Science is one of my all-time favorite albums. So just seeing them at a little small college before the album was released, they were still working on the material, and to get to meet them afterwards and just how down to earth and cool they were, it was one of my
I need
favorite
to listen
shows.
to that album. I need to listen to Science.
Yeah, great album.
My next one on my list is June 4th, 2021 at Boatyard Eats in North Carolina. I saw Driving and Crying.
Driving and Crying.
And I'm a huge Driving and Crying fan. I've always been a Driving and Crying fan. I've seen them 100 times. They always play up and down the East Coast. Saw them when I lived in Nashville. I don't know how many times. They're from Georgia, so they play in Georgia. But the reason that particular show stood out to me because it was the first show I saw after COVID.
Yeah.
I'd been a whole year with no live music.
Ugh.
And during COVID, I didn't know how long it was going to last. I didn't know if we were ever going to get to see live
A lot
music
of us was
again.
that way, yeah.
And I saw, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're having live music again. And Boatyard Eats at the time was what, 5 minutes from where I lived.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that show just gave me hope that we're going to get to see live music again. Oh my
Right.
God, I can't wait.
What was that
So,
experience like at the show? Mask on and everything?
we were still they were still trying to get us to socially distance.
Yeah.
At the time, it was outdoors, which was fine. And there were a lot of people that still had masks on and stuff. But
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was like, if they're going to play, I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that'll always be one of my favorites that it just gave me hope that we're going to have live music back again.
My number 7 was Cottonmouth Kings were the headliner. They're a hip hop group. Too Rude, Corporate Avenger. Bands I was really into Cottonmouth Kings, but the opener was this little band, and there were 25 people there, and a band called Linkin Park.
Oh my gosh.
And nobody knew who they were. They came on. I guarantee when it first started, I think we were the first people there. It was at October 3rd, 2000 at the Super Toad in Des Moines, Iowa. It was before Hybrid Theory came out. And I swear to God, about 3 weeks after this show, boom, they just took off. And I saw them at the show. I'm like, they blew away every band here. Why are they the openers? Like,
You'll never see them with 25 people.
You'll never see that. I just saw them this past year with their new singer, and yeah, they sold out like that. Those were hard tickets to get, and just to see them before, and it was literally weeks after I saw them that they took off, and I remember thinking when we got there, like, these guys are going to be huge, right?
Yeah.
So just so cool to see them in that environment, and they were super engaged, and that was my 7th favorite show.
Cool. So the next one on my list, June 7th, 1989, at a small club called Mississippi Nights in St. Louis, Missouri, down on Laclede's Landing, I saw Meatloaf for the first time. And I guess the thing that was most significant about this show is if you followed Meatloaf through his career, he was huge in the 70s, late 70s when he put out Bad Out of Hell. And he had a lot of success, and he was touring so much and playing so often. He actually had a psychological and mental breakdown on stage. He collapsed, and they had to carry him off the stage. This was in, I think, the late 70s, and so, or maybe early 80s, but he didn't know
Height of his fame, height of his
career.
success,
He
and
lost his voice. He didn't know if he'd ever going to be able to sing again, and had a breakdown. So he climbed his way back. He got a vocal coach. He got medical help. He got all this help so he could come back. And he came out and he started playing all these little clubs to get his career back, get his career started again. And first time I can say that I've ever seen a front man. When you talk about somebody giving 150%, this is what you would think about, the way that he performed. And he was so appreciative and so thankful, and kept thanking the fans to come out. And we're in this small club. There's probably 100 people there,
right?
Maybe 150 people, because it just didn't hold that many.
Yeah.
But he was so appreciative and so thankful. And I mean, this guy put on a show that was unbelievable. By the second song, he was soaked, just totally soaked in sweat. He gave everything he had.
Yeah.
And
To build his career back
build
up,
his
build
career
himself
back,
back
and the
up.
fact that he could get back, and so I'll always remember that as being one of my favorites.
I think I love the opener that becomes the big, and I'm seeing this as a pattern
Yeah.
because March 21st, 1995, I was at First Avenue. I had friends that were more like ska and hardcore fans, and that kind of intercepts with metal a little bit. And they loved Sick of It All and Orange 9mm, and I liked Orange 9mm. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you guys. And the opener was a little band called Korn.
Oh,
And
God.
Korn came on.
And now you know Korn, and nobody knows
and
those
nobody
other,
knows the other
other
dudes.
two.
Sick of All is still pretty big,
Yeah.
but all three bands were just unbelievable. Sick of It All was great. They really won me over that night. But it was probably the best show of 3 acts just in progression. But I remember Korn starting, and they came out and they played Blind at first, and the lights went down and da 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 da, and you were like, "Are you ready?" I was like, "I am," and it just they went off for like 6 songs. And I mean, if you've seen Korn before, you know the energy they bring at a show. And they didn't have a lot of songs to play because they were the opener, but it was probably the best 6-song set I've ever seen in my life. So I love
That's
that
awesome.
opener. They're trying to make their way up, and you see them before they're big, and then they just explode over. I love seeing band success and the come up. So that was my 6th favorite.
Yeah,
What do you got next?
I'm definitely seeing a pattern with your with your list. So I'm a huge AC/DC fan. I mean, that's probably still to this day my favorite band. Just a 3-chord rock, simple, but still just so freaking powerful. And I had a friend of mine turn me on to this band back in the 90 called Rhino Bucket.
Rhino Bucket.
Rhino Bucket. I doubt very many people know who they are.
Make sure to comment below if you know Rhino Bucket.
If you know Rhino Bucket. And so this guy turns me on to Rhino Bucket's self-titled album. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. They sound like AC/DC. They got the same 3-chord pattern. They're just blues-based, hard rock, denim boots, just dirty garage band type people. And so I found, and they play on the West Coast. They're from California. They hardly ever come out to the East Side. So they finally came out to the East Side. Saw them in Nashville. This was 2007, October of 2007. So they played a little club in Nashville, probably 50 people there, 50, 60 people there. But I was the only person standing in front of the stage, like, here's the singer, I'm right here. and just singing every note and jumping up and down, and I was making a total freaking ass of myself. But it was I loved this band, and I finally got to see him, and then like
you're the only one in the crowd excited to see him.
I was the only one excited to see him. Everybody else knew the people that were there knew who they were, but they weren't as excited as I was.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll always remember that to be one of my favorites.
That's amazing. My number 5 is the most recent show I've went to, and that was December 2nd, 2025 at the Greensboro Coliseum. And it was Spirit Box and Periphery. And if you haven't seen Spirit Box, you got to go out and see them. They're unbelievable. It's my second time seeing them. Periphery was just a great opening act. There's a band before them I didn't love. Courtney LaPlante live is the best vocalist I've ever heard. Her range, the way she commands the stage, her showmanship. I would call her the female David Lee Roth, not because of styles, but because of the way they command the stage. I was just like, man, this girl, not just her vocal range, but I've never seen someone command the stage and like, you know, her husband's a guitar player. He's great. Their drummer's fantastic, but you're just so focused on her because of her lyrics, because of her vocalist, and just the way she commands the stage. One of the best front women I've ever seen. So, small venue, there's about 5,000 people there, and I would say they're my favorite current metal band is Spirit Box.
Nice. Yeah, nice. I saw them. I can't remember who they opened up for. I didn't heard them when I saw them.
Evanescence.
Evanescence. And yeah, you're right. She's unbelievable.
I was sold. I mean, they knew Amy Lee.
They got a fan out of me when I saw them.
Awesome.
So since I kind of led in with AC/DC a minute ago, I'd say 1983 in St. Louis, Missouri.
November 83.
Yeah, saw AC/DC for the first time.
Where at?
St. Louis, at the St. Louis Arena.
St. Louis Arena.
Yeah, where
That venue's
the
like
Blues
what?
play.
That's where the Blues play.
Yeah, it was where Blues play. So it's probably 10,000 people.
Wow.
But it's the first time I got to see AC/DC. They were my favorite band. As soon as I got into hard rock and heavy metal, and heard my first AC/DC album, I'm like, this is my band, and they're probably still my favorite to this day. So I finally got to see AC/DC. Fastway was the opening band. I loved Fastway at the time too. They were just coming out. They had a self-titled debut album. They were really good. But to see Angus and his brother, and they have a formula on stage. If you've ever seen AC/DC, the songs might change, but the formula stays the same. You've got the drummer, you've got Malcolm, and then you've got the bass, and then you've got the bass player. Malcolm's playing rhythm. You got the bass player. They stand beside the drummer on each side of the stage. You got Brian Johnson at the time out front singing, and you got Angus running around the stage. That never changes.
Never changes.
Never changes. But at the
still
time,
now in their 70s,
still do the same thing. But there's a couple things they don't do. They don't play the jack anymore. They used to play the jack, and Angus would do a strip tease to that song.
What's the jack?
The Jack is a song off of I can't even remember the name. That's terrible. I'm an AC/DC fan. I can't think of the album that it's on. But anyway, he would do it's a blues based tune, and he would do a strip tease to the Jack, and he would always do that. He doesn't do it anymore, but that was cool to see. And he would always get on Brian Johnson's shoulders, and Brian Johnson would run him through the crowd while he's playing.
That's awesome.
While he's playing. So yeah, AC/DC. First time I saw him, I was like, "This is it."
My number 4 is the shirt I'm wearing. Wu-Tang Clan, Rage Against the Machine, and it wasn't just that Rage Against the Machine was awesome. Wu-Tang Clan pulled out of this tour mid-tour, and this was the second show. And they did not do a great job of announcing that the Wu-Tang Clan wasn't playing. So the Roots filled in for them, and it was the most hostile crowd. There were riots outside. There were fights everywhere.
So they didn't show up.
They didn't play.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
the Roots had to replace him. So I guess there was some problems before the tour. You know, there's like 9 Wu-Tang Clan members, so they're not all showing up to the show. And they had inner turmoil within the band. So finally, Rage was like, just no more, right? And you can the hip hop fan base versus the metal fan base is a little different, right? And there was just constant tension. So I'll share in a future episode of some of the events that happened at the show and some of the fights that we were in. And Rage Against the Machine was fantastic, but it was one of my favorite shows just because I survived and got out of there and stayed alive after it.
Yeah, I think I would have made my way to the back of the venue to watch that, so everyone could have stayed in front of me.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I was I would have been 18, so I thought the opposite at that time in my life.
You wanted to be in the fray.
Wherever the fighting and the skirmishes and the mosh pit was at is where I was at.
Oh, nice. All right. So my next one happened June 10th of 1992 at Starwood Amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater in Nashville, Tennessee. I saw Spinal Tap.
Wow. After the movie?
The movie came out 10 years earlier. So everybody seen the Spinal Tap movie. If you're watching this podcast, I guarantee you've seen the Spinal Tap movie. So in 92, thumbs
up on the comments if you've seen Spinal Tap.
They actually released an album, and the album was called Breaks Like the Wind. And they put a couple of songs that they wrote on there, and then they played all the old tunes from the movie on there. And the fact that they even went on tour, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're actually going to tour. I'm like, this is supposed to be like a fictitious band. It's supposed to be a parody band.
Yeah.
I'm like, these guys are going to tour and play. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm going to go. I bought tickets, and they were so freaking good. They did all the stuff that they did in the movie, where the Stonehenge came down, and they had the Stonehenge, and it was only 12 by 12 instead of 12 feet. It was 12 inches. 12. They did the Stonehenge. They did the egg where 2 of them broke out, and
so
the
they
bass
played
player
all
got
the
stuck.
humor.
They
of the
did
movie.
everything in the humor in the movie. They did it live on stage. It was so freaking good.
That's awesome.
He'll always be a favorite.
Amazing. My number 3 was 1997 Lollapalooza, and Tool was the headliner.
Oh man.
So Enema was at its height. That had just came out.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this before, if you've ever seen Maynard live, He turns his back to the stage.
Yep.
He doesn't want the spotlight on him. And I had never seen them live. So I was like, where the hell is he singing from? Where is he at? What is going on? Why is he not on the stage? And I was on a lot of mushrooms at the time too, so that was messing with me too. And he was painted like a blue frog. And if you know Maynard, he's got a tattoo of his spine down his back.
Yeah.
And he left that like a glow in the dark neon green. And so it was just, I mean, between the mushrooms and Maynard and not knowing where the singer was and enemas at its height. I remember touching my friend in front of me, and he was partaking in the shrooms too, and he looked back. He had these big, huge eyes, and he went back because he was a huge Tool fan. So, I mean, they were just so incredibly tight. You could close your eyes and not know if you're listening to the CD or them live.
Yeah,
so
they're phenomenal.
that was them. 1997, Troy, Wisconsin. Share some of the stories about that trip too on our next episode. But just unbelievable time, unbelievable show.
Yep, go see Tool. If you've never seen them,
You got to see them once.
unbelievable, and they're just still that good.
Yep, absolutely.
So my next
What
one
you
on
got
my
next?
list, July 22nd, 1988, the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. One of my
That's a favorite venue of yours.
Yeah, well, it was close by. It was
Yep.
only an hour and a half, less than 2 hours away, so I could go to Cape Girardeau pretty quick. But Aerosmith was the opening band. Loved Aerosmith. I've seen them once before, and Permanent Vacation had just come out. Probably the last album they did that I consider to be one of my favorites. After that, they got a little
poppy.
It got a little poppy for
Yep.
me, but everything before Permanent Vacation was always my favorite part of Aerosmith. So Aerosmith's on tour, and they had an opening band for them with their brand new album out, Guns N' Roses.
Oh my God.
So Guns N' Roses is the opener. They're touring on Appetite for Destruction.
Oh, I can't imagine.
And I mean, you know, they were played a lot on the radio back then, so you could hear "Sweet Child of Mine" and you could hear "Welcome to the Jungle" every once in a while. But "Sweet Child of Mine" got played a lot. "Welcome to the Jungle" got played quite a bit. But then they played the rest of the album. I'm like, oh my God,
Mr. Brownstone comes on.
Brownstone and My Michelle and all this, and these guys were freaking wild.
Yeah.
I mean, Slash is loud, hair down in front of his face, and Izzy didn't even look at the crowd. He's playing, and I mean, these guys were freaking on fire. On fire. I'm like, these guys are going to be huge. I mean, I knew their first album was great, but I mean, when they played live, this is it. They were unbelievable.
Well, you and I went and saw Slash a couple times.
Yeah.
Seen Guns N' Roses together. I mean, they're still just
but
give it their all.
For the Appetite tour, they were like,
I can't imagine that.
Oh my gosh.
That is one of the biggest regrets I have, is not seeing them earlier. I saw them on Use Your Illusion, but unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
It's so great.
Yeah, I imagine he came on, you know where you are. Along with that theme, I told you my college roommate was a musician. He was into the music scene and knew a lot of the good bands coming. So there was this little bar that I always used to go to. It was a nightclub / bar. It was City, Iowa. I was in college. It was called the Union Club, right? And about 500 people fit into it. And it was November 30th, 1999. About 300 people there. And that's the whole bar. They fit all these people into the dance floor on a makeshift stage. I mean, this place should not have held a concert.
Right.
And it was this little scary band with an opener named Mudvayne, and the headliner was Slipknot.
I knew you were going to
eventually. It blew my mind. I mean, these guys came out in their masks, and I'm like, what the hell is this, Corey? And Chris, if you know Chris, he had the long nose, like Pinocchio nose on his on his mask. He was one of the percussionists. He's on the top of the speaker tower, which is like 2 stories tall, and there's an upper bar out there. and he's jumping into the crowd. Then he climbs back up there. He's lighting Barbie doll heads on fire and throwing them into the crowd, and surfacing's coming on. And you're like, what is going on? It was like just an sensory overload.
And you're in a small bar. And how many people are in the Slipknot band? It was like
half the people there are in the band. And, no one knew who Mudvayne was with them, and they opened up, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, I still lost half my hearing at that show. But November 30th, 1999, Step Kings, Mudvayne, and Slipknot, one of my all-time favorite shows, number 2 on the list.
Yeah, Slipknot, that's your hometown band, too.
Des Moines, Iowa. Yep. So they're Iowa boys. Yep. Good old hometown boys, and still touring, still doing great. So number 2 favorite show of all time.
What a great place to see them,
too. Oh, God, unbelievable.
All right, so my last one is a little different. May 22nd, 2015, a little club called Iron City in Birmingham, Alabama. I saw Camelot was the headliner, and the opener was Dragon Force. Dragon Force, for me, they're a little speed metal, and I wasn't really into speed metal at the time. I'm more of a Camelot person. I mean, I can listen to some progressive kind of hard rock and that kind of stuff, but that's more my speed. The speed metal of Dragon Force I wasn't really into too much. But the only reason I went was my son was 16 years old at the time. He just turned 16. It was his birthday, and he's a huge Dragon Force fan. So he loved Dragon Force. And so I took him to see Dragon Force for his 16th birthday. And so we're in this little club. There's probably 200 or 300 people there. And he's watching the band. He's singing every note. Oh, his eyes are like this big around. So huge. And so I'm watching him while he's watching the band. And when I watched him, I could imagine myself
at that age
watching my first show. So I felt like I was 16 all over again. And so Dragon Force was the opener. We stayed and we watched Camelot. He kind of liked Camelot a little bit. And I liked Camelot more than I liked Dragon Force at the time. But after the show, Dragon Force came out into the lobby, and so they were signing autographs. And so I took him over there. I bought him all kinds of merch, got him some autographs, got his picture made with the band, and I mean, all the way home. I thought he would just crash out in the car on the way home. Oh, no. He's geeked out. Eyes are huge. It's like the coolest thing to see him watch that band.
That's right.
And see myself in him, knowing that I looked exactly the like same way when I was 16.
I love that. What a great memory.
Yeah.
And mine is 14 years old, pushing the car out of my driveway, using my detasseling money, stealing my parents' car, smoking weed at the concert at 14, driving back without a license, getting my butt kicked by my dad. But it was September 15th, 1992, my very first show, Guns N' Roses, Faith No More, Dome, Minneapolis. Just if I'm a huge Metallica fan, and you've seen GNR, and Faith No More blew me away. And to see that at 14, I mean, that was it just took a couple chords and I was hooked on live music forever.
That's probably a life changer for you. That was probably like a defining moment for you.
That was, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I still have the scars from my dad's belt buckle, so that was defining. I knew not to mess with my dad and steal the car after that, but I knew I'd always be a live music fan, and that passion, that addiction, that memory just sealed it. So we would love to hear about your top 10 show. Please comment below. Please share this podcast. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple. We would love for you to subscribe, but most importantly, we're here to hear your memories. So share your memories of your top 10 favorite show below. The good, the bad, the ugly, your favorite memories, the worst memories. We would love to hear them all. Any final thoughts, Craig?
Yeah, if you're a fan of a band from your younger days and you're my age in the 60s and that band is touring, go see them. Just buy the ticket. Go see them. If they can't sing like they used to and they can't run around the stage like they used to, who gives a damn?
Yeah.
Buy the ticket. Go see them. If only just to say, thank you for still being around. Thank you for providing the soundtrack to my life. Thank you so much. I'm going to come see you. If you're going to play, I'm going to buy the ticket. I'm going to go see it. You should go see it too. And don't worry about if it's not like it used to be way back then. Just go and say thank you to the band for being the soundtrack to your life. Unbelievable.
Thank you for tuning in. Please share, please like, please subscribe.